Alright, hey guys, ZenAku here, back with another game of a PvP that I played in the Korean server. My opponent is HwangSin from Quantic Gaming, so quite a top tier player, and yeah, this is just a follow-up to the game that I showed before with the Twilight Council opening against Stargate, and this is another game which is very similar as well, where he's gone to Stargate and I've gone to Twilight Council. But it's just a little bit of the showing of what you might do if the situation played out a little bit differently. So I'll just have to show you that. Now again, at the very start, I do the pylon scout. And like I said in the other game as well, it just allows for the threatening of a cannon rush. Like if you just see a probe enter your base, you're kind of forced to check where it is. Some things that I like to do sometimes is that you just walk into the base, and normally you can see if it's a gateway or something like that, and as soon as that's down you just run your probe back down to a space like here, and it just kind of threatens your opponent as if you're going to put a pylon down or even like cannon rush or something like that. And something else you might like to do is just have your probe just floating around here, where this is like a very common place to cannon rush on Daybreak. Mainly because you can actually block one pylon right here, and even though it looks like a probe can fit in there, it actually can't. And normally you pylon block here first, and then you pylon block here second, because the probers will automatically track and go down through this way and try to go around, and by the time your probe gets to here, it can actually fit the pylon in time. See, he actually puts a probe in here to actually try and deny this cannon rush, and I get about 2 probes trying to threaten this, and this probe here is just doing nothing. So it ends up being quite equal, and as you can see, because of that, we have buildings finishing around about the same time. Again, he does get the faster cybernetics core, but I still like that pylon scout. Like you can just check if he's cannon rushing you extra early, or if he's even proxy gating you. It's a very nice way without having to check all around your base to do that. Now, another thing you might like to do is also put a probe, just hold positioning on this gas. This way he just can't take it for that extra bit of longer time. And just because of that, I now have a 8-10 second advantage on that second gas, which is quite important in PvP. Now let's have a look what he decides to choose. Now he makes a Stalker first and he chrono boosts it out. It's a pretty nice choice. It just denies that scouting of what you might be doing. And my choice is the same as well. Now, bit of a wrong choice to chrono boost the cybernetics core. I'm not sure if I misclicked or if I just decided to chrono boost it anyway. Anyway, not too important. It just does deny it scouting a little bit extra. And yeah, so probe for me does die. Doesn't really see anything. If I just look at my vision right now, at his base, yeah, I don't see any tech at all. I believe that was a pylon that was starting up. Yeah. And I choose my tech after I see his probe leave the base, which again I've chosen the Twilight Council. Now I've also, I think, to be absolutely certain that you hold off any pressure, it's better to get the mothership core first before you make your tech. That way it actually has enough energy to defend against any type of pressure. And he has gone for the Stargates in this position. Now Stargate on this map quite nice. There's a lot of area for your units to just fly around, whether it be for just in this section here or even just down here as well. And if you ever get your units in just an awkward position, like you can always fly them into this back section here, and he has to split his units up there and up the top, and you can normally avoid taking a lot of damage. Now he has decided to expand. Now I haven't experienced it too much just yet. With the new photon overcharge, I think it does make it quite viable to it's like like any other decision in this game. It's just a risk. It's really hard to tell what you will be doing. Now if I look at HwangSin, what his vision is like, he doesn't know what tech I've chosen either. I could be doing a 2-gate blink and he would essentially be almost he might not be dead, because like I said, he does have that, well actually he doesn't have photon overcharge right now. If I had a faster blink, he actually might take quite significant damage. So let's have a look back to everyone's vision. Here comes the blink, and here's that sentry that I was talking about with the hallucination. and just moving out across the map. Now this is, so now at this point he knows it's blink, and I do believe that he does cancel the Nexus, because at this point he realizes, okay, he's going for high gateway pressure. Even though I've got the mothership core, it only lasts 60 seconds, and I've gone for a Stargate opener. If he had actually gone for a Robo, he might be able to hold it if he gets the Immortal out in time and just the Photon Overcharge. And as a response, he makes 3 extra gateways. Now, let's have a look. He gets a free Stalker here. Not too much of a... it's still a nice pickup from him. Again, the Mothership Core just sitting at base, just in case if he hadn't made 1 Oracle. It's always nice to be safe. And let's have a look. If we look at the units right now, I've got 7 Stalkers, 1 Sentry. Now I've got 9 Stalkers right now, 1 Sentry, and he's got 1 Stalker, 3 Phoenix, 2 Sentries, and a Mothership Core, and he's going to Void Ray in the way. Now he does have the Photon Overcharge too, which does mean that he can just hold this off. So he should proc it in just a second. And even though his units are so small, I just take... It's really hard to do damage, so the best thing I can really get from this is just picking off this 1 pylon here, and even just trying to kill this gateway. And during this time, I'm just making more and more units. Now, in this situation, I should most likely go home. I know he's gone Stargate, and I know that he's made at least 3 Phoenix, which is somewhat... It's a decent investment to be going. So in this situation, I've got the advantage with the build, and I've already done enough, the fact that he's had to cancel the Nexus, and right now I could just go home and just cancel it as well. But I hadn't really experienced this too much, and I really thought that I could just finish it here and then, because he just does have the low numbers. But because he's made the extra gateways, and because he's got the 3 Phoenix here, you'll see in just a moment how this ends up playing out. So let's have a look. So 3 Phoenix pick up 3 units, and like automatically, so I'm basically fighting with 9 Stalkers, and these Zealots basically mess up the AI quite a lot. So again, 3 units always being constantly picked up, and again, I'm just fighting against something that it's really hard to deal with right now. And at this point, I've basically got no choice. He just has an army right now which is able to deal with mine. He just has those extra gateways. And again, just basically sitting on 1 base, and those 3 Phoenix. If he hadn't have made the Phoenix there, I may have been able to push in, but because it just grew so much energy over time, and the Zealot's just messing up with the AI, it was really hard to dive for the Void Rays, because the Zealots were just blocking in the way. And even if I were to just attack move, it would automatically attack the different Zealots. And so he basically just takes the advantage from this point. Now, let's have a look. He's got 4 Void Rays, and my Stalker count is relatively low, so it's very hard to put an advantage here. And he just expands behind it, because his army is just really strong now. Now, at this point, it's kind of like do or die. I either have to just go completely all in and just keep attacking, but there wasn't too much I could do there. So I just decided to expand, I believe. Here comes that Photon Overcharge. Just enough to push the Phoenix away. They might get 1 or 2 kills, but it's definitely not worth the investment of going completely into Stargate and then having these units here dealing with that. Now let's have a look. I do send in another hallucination just to see what his response is. And his response is to go Robotics Facility. Now again, Immortals are really good against Stalkers. And instead of making Oracles, he now has the opportunity to make just an Observer. So you don't really have to have a Observer with your army, just in case if I go DT. And just saves making the Oracles and stuff like that. And actually, yeah, I was going DT, so I cancelled it there. Let's have a look again. So Oracle comes in, should blow, yeah, Photon Overcharge, and because of the AI for it, it just attacks the Nexus and it just dies like that. So let's have a look at his vision. I think, no, he hasn't seen the Nexus yet. So he takes the extra gases out as natural to keep up the production of two tech choices, which is the Void Rays and the Robo, which is a very nice choice. I think he knows that he's just in an advantageous position, so he just needs to basically keep making units. I'm really surprised that he had this Phoenix here, that he didn't at least check. Yep, and he does now, but I mean, I actually cancelled the Nexus and he didn't even see it anyway, so Now my response here is to make just to go charge, but again the charge is just better dealing with zealots. I believe charge actually gets first hits zealots, so in a 1v1 with the same upgrades, or even no upgrades at all, the charge zealot would actually win against a zealot with no charge, I believe. And I think he does see this. Well, he makes the gateway wall when he knows that he's in trouble, even though he could probably actually deal with it without it. And the charge isn't too bad, because if I know that if he thinks that I'm keep making Blink Stalkers, there is a small window that I can actually still kill him. So he makes the Immortals instead, but because I've gone charge actually deals with Immortals really well. But then obviously the counter to that is to make a gateway wall here, which he's done. So a little bit of pushing in here. Just a moment. Another Phoenix just scouting out. So then he sees, he definitely knows for sure now that he's seen the Templar Archives, and I do believe that he checks the expansion just a moment. So I think we can just speed this up because not too much happens at the moment. Just still, let's have a look. He stops at 33 probes. He knows that I haven't expanded, so he can kind of just keep playing on. Now, fun fact, if he had maybe made this pylon a little bit closer, we'd have less room to play with, but at least my Stalkers couldn't really get these gateways for free as much. So I just push in a little bit here. Very nice use of the high ground, but again I can just keep moving around. And I'm basically just trying to make more opportunity for my zealots to really get a surface area around, because once I get a small choke here and he just puts his zealots there as well, then I just have such a tough time trying to get a full surround, and that's really the advantage of having the charge lot, just getting that full surround onto the ground army. So my army actually does look quite dangerous, but again, force fields this off, and just has zealots in this position here, and it's just too much for me to deal with. 100 supply to 50, and photon overcharge as well. It's a good game. So if I had to play that differently, I probably would have basically put the see what he was going for. If he was going for Robo, then again I would have to I would either have to just accept the fact that I'm going to be behind and have to make some plays during this game, whether it be for maybe just like making a robotics facility, sorry, and making like a zealot drop while pushing into the front or something like that, because an advantage you can use when they don't have Colossus is that you can just force field them out and just keep him on the bottom of the ramp. Or perhaps I could even just just expand and just keep making Blink Stalkers, and sometimes you can actually catch your opponent out, because if they attack the Colossus too fast, you can actually just blink in there, and even though he's got the Immortals to deal with your Stalkers, it just isn't enough, and you can come back that way. But again, against an opponent who already has good scouting and stuff like that, it's almost impossible to win. He just has the advantage, and he just has to play it out the way that he should, and he should win. So again, this is a game between myself and HwangSin, however you want to say it. Hope you guys learned something, and thanks for watching.